Hey, this is Waylon from Swiftwood Bows, and in this video I'm going to show you how we can refine the handle so it will be comfortable and it will look good. And we're also going to refine the tips in our bow so that they look nice. Now, from a purely functional standpoint, from the shooting perspective, we don't really need to do anything with the handle and the tips. The tips have good sturdy self-nocks in them, and they would shoot just fine. The handle's a little bit clunky, not very comfortable, but it's not affecting the performance of the bow. So what we're going to do from here is a little bit up to you. Some people like to have really refined, comfortable handles, and other people don't care as much. And so on your bow, you get to decide how far to take this. I personally like to put a lot of effort into how my bows look and feel, and so I do my best to take the time and make things look nice. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. But just know that if you get to a point and you like how it looks, and it's still doing a good serviceable job for your bow, feel free to stop and carry on with the rest of the process, even if you're not taking it as far as I am. It's kind of up to you. I'm going to start here with the handle. So we've got the general shape of the handle here. We've got our 2-inch fades that are narrowing down to this 1-inch start of the handle. It flares out a little bit, comes back. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going with this general shape, and I'm going to round it off, and I'm going to make it smaller so it's more comfortable to fit in my hand. I'm not doing any cut-in shelves. It's not something that I put on my self bows. I'm just making a symmetrical, balanced, comfortable, bulbous style handle. I find that rounded tools work better. I really like to use this microplane. You could also use like a half round file, a rasp, something like that. The bigger, flatter things like the farrier's rasp, I just don't do the contours very well. So when I'm shaping the handle, I do a little bit here and a little bit there, and I turn it around, and I come at it from all different sides, and I just slowly work it all in together. If you work this one spot down to where you want it, and then try to work this other spot down to match it, you're going to end up with a funny shaped handle. It's going to be hard to bring everything together. So I kind of just chip away a little bit here and there. I want to be careful not to change this fade dynamic too much. I don't want to do a lot of work out here. It's only going to be just a little bit of cosmetic work, rounding off edges and stuff. Most of the work is going to be here in this 4-inch handle section. And I just want to be kind of maintaining this basic bulbous shape. I'm going to round this off here. Right now it's been kind of flat here. That's not going to feel good in your hand. On the back, we always want to maintain a continuous strip of uninterrupted back. I don't want to cut all the way across. Even though the bow is not bending here in the handle, there's still a lot of strain that's happening here, and we don't want to invite any weak spots. And so it can be pretty narrow here. It doesn't have to be a big wide area, but I'm going to be mindful to leave something here. So I find that it's important for me to stop, turn the bow around, look and make sure that things are looking even, that it's not getting too deep here, but not enough over here. And I also like to feel it. Right now it's still feeling pretty bulky. I like to have a smaller handle that I can really dominate with my hand. Some people like to have a big handle, and that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. And I'm going to keep working this down quite a bit. So once I get the shape about like I want it, then I'm going to get out a smoother file and just clean all the rough tool marks up. Right now I'm just checking. Feels like this fade is fatter than this fade. I'm going to take that down a little bit. Clean up the tool marks here and see how it looks. So this is what I'm shooting for as a more final product for my handle. I might do a little bit of refining here around the edges and the fades just to make sure that it's totally symmetrical, but it's pretty close right now. It's certainly functional. Feels good in my hand. I like having a smaller grip that my hand can really get around. Alright, now let's focus on getting these tips looking nice. So we've got these self nocks in here that are totally functional, but this is definitely wider and clunkier than I'd like to leave it. Probably just fine. You know, people talk about having bulky tips slowing down your bow. And theoretically it does, in the sense that the more mass that you have in the outer limbs, the more energy that's using up to move that mass. But I think the difference in mass that we're talking about from this down to how we're going to refine it, I mean, it's going to be, you know, a handful of sawdust, virtually no weight at all. So I'm not sure that I really buy into making skinny tips versus thicker tips like this as a real performance enhancer. I doubt that it makes a difference of more than a foot per second, if that. I mean, of course, if you go to the extreme and you have really bulky outer limbs, sure, it's going to make a difference and you're going to notice more hand shock. But a difference between this and a little bit skinnier, I'm not convinced it makes a big difference. For me, it's purely about the looks of the bow. So I like skinny tips. I think they look nice, but I don't really kid myself to think that I'm adding a lot of noticeable performance. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to narrow this up, and it's going to mean that I'm going to eat up quite a bit of my self nocks here. And when I get done, there will still be kind of a hint of where they were, and then I'll just be able to deepen them. So I'm really not having to totally redo the self nocks. I want to, and if I get to a point where they're starting to disappear, I'll stop and I'll deepen them a little bit, just so that I don't have to go through that process of lining up the angles all over again and creating more work for myself. So I'm just going to start by narrowing these up. On both sides. see, my grooves are still there, but they're definitely not deep enough. I'm going to be careful you don't make it too skinny. You need to leave enough meat there that you can put safe self-nocks on there and still have a strip of wood between. Like I said, it doesn't have to be very much undamaged back between your grooves, but there has to be something. Otherwise you're inviting it to splinter out on you. So I'm just going to lay my file back in that groove and just reestablish it. This time I'm going to pay extra special attention to symmetry. I did a pretty good job before, but now's my chance to make it look nice. Turn it and check it from all angles as you're going along to make sure it's lining up here, and then it's lining up back here. Now when I angle it back towards the belly here, I'm going to kind of sweep this corner here back a little bit to exaggerate the flow of the groove. Because if you don't, the string is going to create an angle right here, and a lot of pressure is going to be put on this string loop right here on this corner, and over time that's going to wear your loop down. But if you soften that angle there, it's going to allow for a more natural flow for your string so that it's not pushing against that corner. Something to think about. So what I'm doing now is just re-establishing that strong little shoulder here on the top of the string groove, making sure that there's a strong platform for the string to rest on, squaring it off. Okay, those are pretty good for now. I might have to come back and tinker with them at the last minute, but now I'm just going to round off the edges here, take off any thickness that I need to, and I'm going to shape this. This is the top tip. I'm going to shape it into a nice little point. Okay, I've got it looking just about like I want it. I might do a little bit of really minor tweaking with a small file. I'm just going to get the grooves cleaned up here, matching. This one kind of eats in a little bit more here, so I have to match it on this side so that it looks symmetrical. I'm just deepening these a little bit. They're probably fine the way they are, but I'd rather have them a little bit too deep than not deep enough. Alright, so there's my semi-finished product. Obviously it needs to be sanded and cleaned up a little bit, but got the basic shape that I want. And you can see it doesn't take a lot of wood to make a solid tip. There's no reason that you can't have self-nocks look elegant and refined. It just takes a little bit of work and you can get them looking really nice. So I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom tip. I'm just going to make it more blunt because this is the tip that's going to be coming in contact with the ground more often, so I don't want it to be easily damaged. So I'm not going to make you watch me do the bottom tip, but I'll show you the end result when I'm finished with it. So we've got the handle all shaped up, and here's the top tip. Nice and sleek. And here's the bottom tip that I finished up. You can see it's a little bit more substantial and blunt, so it can stand up to the rigors of coming in contact with the ground every once in a while. Not that we want to be jamming our bow into the ground very much, but it happens every once in a while. So we are ready to move along with the tiller. We don't have a lot left before this bow is finished. It's definitely already starting to look like a bow. We just gotta go that last home stretch to get the bow out to full draw and ready to shoot. So that's what we will tackle in the next video. So thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Take care and good luck with your own projects.